Uncharted came out, and I'll tell you, I didn't think it was a train wreck. I didn't think it was particularly good, but I didn't think it was a train wreck. It had enough going for it. It had enough smiles for me and enjoyable parts that I walked out going, well, I don't think that was a waste of my time. Put that on the next poster. Well, it's not a waste of time. John Campea, the John Campea Show. I know Ray loved it. Ray liked that Uncharted movie.
Yeah, it was a fun movie.
And you weren't alone.
But it was just like, that's it. Leave it right there. We're good.
We're good. Right? But I mean, Ray wasn't alone. We had a number of our viewers write and say they quite enjoyed the film.
Yeah.
And it was a success at the box office. Not a smash hit, but it was successful. And so a new one's coming. I honestly didn't think we would get another one for 3 or 4 more years. But according to Mark Wahlberg, they might be going into production on this thing a lot sooner than we thought. This comes from the folks over at IGN, quoting Mark Wahlberg, who said this. Actually, I just got a call today that they got the script in, Wahlberg said. I can grow, and I can't grow a real beard and mustache, but they said, start growing your mustache. It's going to take a while, Wahlberg says. I'd be interested to see what the story's like and where that adventure takes us, but I'm excited. I know the audience really loved the first one, so we'll see. All right, so the script is in. They're telling him to start growing the facial hair. So this thing could be going into production soon.
I want to make it clear that I've never played one Uncharted game. I've watched maybe a couple parts where some people play. So this news.
So you watched the movie with fresh eyes.
Yeah. And that's probably why I probably came out with it a lot with a more positive response than a lot of other people. I mean, a lot of people said you didn't have to call it Uncharted. Call it something by some other name. And it would have been a good film or like a better film. But just the fact that it holds that name, there's people that expected something else or something more than what was.
I mean, I didn't see it, but I saw someone Wahlberg's age taking the lead role, so it kind of threw me off. Like, isn't Nathan Drake?
Yeah, I mean,
something in between.
In like one of the more recent games, they introduced us to a younger Drake.
Yeah.
And a slightly younger Sully, and
yeah.
You know, and it was fine. And listen, they got themselves a Tom Holland, who, by the way, is not 14 years old. He's in his mid-20s, to play a character that they could have continue to play the character for the next 10, 12, 14 years if they want. And listen, I played a little bit of some of the games. I thought the movie was perfectly fine for what it was. Again, I didn't think it was great, but there's potential there if they can improve on it. And it sounds like we might be getting it sooner than we thought. We want to take a second to thank a sponsor of today's video, Factor. You know, guys, some days it's great to prepare your own meal, but some days it's great to have wonderful, delicious meals already ready to go. Factor's delicious, ready-to-eat meals makes eating better every day easy. Wherever tomorrow takes you, be ready with pre-prepared, chef-crafted, and dietitian-approved meals delivered right to your door. You'll have over 35 different options a week to choose from, including keto, calorie smart, vegan, veggie, and more. And there's even more to enjoy with over 55 nutrition-packed add-ons that help make your weekly meal planning even more delicious. So what are you waiting for? Get started today and have a feel-good week of meals ready to go. They've got snacks, smoothies, and more. Discover a wide variety of easy options for the entire day, like breakfast, midday bites, and more. And guys, you get to save. We've done the math. Factor is less expensive than takeout, and every meal is dietitian approved to be nutritious and delicious. So guys, head to factormeals.com/Campea50 and use the code Campea50 to get 50% off. That's code Campea50 at factormeals.com/Campea50 to get 50% off. Rob, you were there at the screening with me and Ray and Chris and watched it. You know, where are your thoughts right now on the whole thing? And what do you think about them going into a production sooner than probably even I thought?
Well, you know, as I said before, when I first played Uncharted, the very first game, I got it really close to when it first came out. And it was the very first time in the modern age, I have to say, was this 2006? Maybe 2007. And I sat down, and I've never done this before. I played it for 14 hours straight.
Wow.
And I had never experienced characterization and cut scenes in a video game that had me as absorbed in the story as the first Uncharted did. Love the character design, love the milieu, love the gameplay, loved everything about it. And I'm like, this is the future. This is the future. You know, whether it's interactive entertainment, but this paved the way for me in terms of what video games have become over the last 20 years. So when I saw the movie, I thought it was lackluster. And I thought that Tom Holland, as much as I love him as Spider-Man, he was too young and miscast. And so was Mark Wahlberg. Even though Mark Wahlberg is the perfect age, I expected to see characters that had a feel of a different time. And, they basically wandered around Paris and oh, look what's underneath the street. And it wasn't like, I'm
what's
like,
underneath the street.
I
Did you
wasn't,
see what's under here?
yeah, I mean, that's kind of, so I found it all. The one thing I did love was the Spanish galleons being picked up by the helicopters. And that was rad.
That was a fun, that was a fun
rad.
sequence.
I'm like,
I
okay,
did like that.
because
Yeah.
I could see that happening in an Uncharted game. That was awesome. So I didn't hate it. I was just disappointed by what led up to that. I wanted to see a different kind of a movie.
It's funny is that the guy who spent that much time in one of the games had that feeling, and the guys who really don't have much experience with the game thought the movie in and of itself. Well, I thought it wasn't terrible. Ray thought it was quite good.
Yeah,
so.
one of the the worst parts, I think, a lot of people think the whole movie was the worst, but how much they use Antonio Banderas as the villain.
Right.
I felt cheated out of that.
Yeah.
It felt like he seemed like he would be such a good, but he didn't even live through the whole movie. I think they only used him for a little bit, right? He was already.
Yeah, but
the villain ended up being the other girl.
You don't change the story because you got a certain actor in, right?
Yeah,
but I
but
thought they misused the character.
I just like
forget
him a lot.
Antonio Banderas.
His build up in the movie.
They could have done more with the character.
I will say this. I expect this to be the Lethal Weapon 2 of the Uncharted franchise. Bigger, better, more wildly entertaining than the first.
Shall we call it the
Lots of
Empire
puns.
Strikes Back of the Uncharted franchise?
Yeah, the Empire. I don't know if it's going to be that.
And maybe the treasure will be deeper in the cave, not
The
just
Road
right
Warrior.
in the
Yeah,
front.
not just
Not just
sitting
right
there when
in
you
the
walk in
front.
the door.
I mean, if he kills someone with a nail gun and says nailed it, then it definitely will be the Lethal Weapon 2 of the franchise.
Is that what happened in Lethal Weapon 2?
Nailed it.
Nailed it.
Really?
All right. Hey guys, thanks so much for watching this video. Make sure you like the video, leave a comment, and subscribe to our channel. And don't forget, we have a daily podcast called the John Campea Show podcast, available on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, or your favorite podcasting app of choice. Go and subscribe to it today so it'll be there when you need it.